We're ready to do the news review. Mama V is also ready in blue. Mama V, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Charlie.
Well, before we do the newspapers, I've got some important news to share with all of you. It's Live to Lead 2019. How do you develop leaders to handle today's challenging or changing business environment and position them for tomorrow's uncertainties? By what practical ways can leaders seek out and develop other leaders to succeed them? As a leader, how do you handle challenges and transform them into opportunities to positively impact your organization? These and many more leadership questions will be addressed at the Live to Lead 2019 by world-class expert and renowned achievers. We're talking John C. Maxwell, the #1 leadership teacher, coach, and best-selling author. Angela Threats, former senior vice president of Apple Retail. Also Marcus Buckingham, global researcher and thought leader. Rahel Hollis is best-selling author. Chris Hogan, international best-selling author and motivational speaker. And Nanan Sakwal IV, traditional ruler, media personality and thought leader. Live to Lead is a leader development experience designed to equip you with new perspectives, practical tools and key takeaways that will refine your leadership skills and bring success to your organization or business. So join the VIP Business Networking session. It's happening on Thursday, 10th of October at 7 p.m. at Alisa Hotel. And the international simulcast will be on Friday, 11th October at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, Rich, at 11 a.m. So grab a ticket if you want to be part of it, and you should definitely. So VIP goes for 500 Ghana cedis, regular is 200 Ghana cedis. For student, you pay 100 Ghana cedis. Register now at ctl-africa.com, and for more information, kindly call CTL Africa on 055 051 5391 055 051 5391. All right, back to the papers now. If you just tune in, of course you missed the AM news, but you made it in good time because we're now about to review the newspapers. We'll touch base also with myjoyonline.com. Roland?
Yeah, so you want me to start? No?
Let me start.
Yeah, please do.
And I would begin with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So front page of the Times today, plot against presidency. 6 more soldiers charged for unlawful possession of explosives, arms, and ammunition. But if you've been following the story, well, the latest really is that lawyer for one of the 6 serving soldiers arraigned on Monday in connection with the alleged coup plot, Captain Retired and Krabi Efadate is demanding the Attorney General provides evidence of his client's involvement in the matter. The Lance Corporal and 5 others, including a female warrant officer, were put before the Kanishi District Courts for their roles in what government says was a plot to destabilize the country. Still on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, 1 shot dead as Okada riders clash with police at Senshi. Information Minister rallies support for referendum on election of MMDCEs. Clergy kicks against SCE in schools, but GES allay public fears of public. That story is on page 17. It will be interesting to know how the Ghanaian Times is reporting this angle, because there was a statement that was issued yesterday and we were told it had been withdrawn. The Ministry of Education seemed to be saying a different thing. The Ghana Education Service also seemed to be saying a different thing. So we'll look at how the papers are reporting the story. We'll go to page 17 in a bit. But on the front page still of the Ghanaian Times, Mason jailed 5 years for stealing mobile phones. It says an 18-year-old Mason who broke into a shop and took away 52 mobile phones and their accessories at Tanoso near Kumasi has been sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. And the story continues on page 3 in the paper. But this GES angle, the Ghana Education Service has dismissed public outcry that it is planning to introduce quote-unquote explicit sexual education to children as young as 4 years under the guise of comprehensive sexual education. The service has been heavily criticized by the public, especially on social media, after some unverified materials popped up on the internet over the weekend as being part of the course materials for the new subject expected to take effect next academic year. The critics contend that the subject was a springboard for the advocacy for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights. Okay, so I want to fast forward, but the GAS in a statement issued in Accra and copied the Ghanaian Times said the new standard-based curriculum being implemented had nothing to do with LGBT issues, masturbation, or explicit display or labeling of intimate body parts. The CSE does not seek to throw out the advocacy for sexual abstinence, but rather seeks to reinforce it. So the paper definitely going with the statement that was issued by the Ghana Education Service yesterday, only for us to be told, I think about 20 minutes after it was made public that it had been withdrawn. But the details of it is here. We'll share what we got with you. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Tongran appeals to government to accelerate work on poor roads in the Upper East region. That's the paramount chief of the Tongo traditional area. Also, government rolls out climate smart cocoa program on October 4, all on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. All right, Roland?
Yeah, as of now, we do know, just coming in through the Ghana Education Service, the Director General, Professor Amonkwa, is expected to address a press conference at 11 a.m. this morning. So we'll bring you up to speed on all the related issues that are happening as far as comprehensive sexual education issues are concerned. But let's go to the Daily Guide. It has on the front page, 6 soldiers caged over coup plot. And then we also have, I left power very poor, Rawlins. Uforiata Gajakbu, rubbish capital bank takeover. New sex education curriculum courses there. It's quite interesting. You take a look at how the Daily Guide seem to have reported it. And then we have Nana Grant, 30,000 scholarships. And the story is on page 6 of the paper. Center spread. So News One pull out. We have a couple of stories there. But let's go to the back page. It says Hazard now 100% fit. Was not fit when he was bought. He's now 100%. Hazard has this feature of his body always getting a bit bloated after each holidays when the season is over. And that's on the back page. Okay, let's go to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. It has on the front page, attempting to destabilize Ghana, a lady, WO, and 5 lance corporals charged. And the total charge now, 11. Reported on the front page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. The Daily Dispatch is promising a feature or analysis as to who will win the Damango parliamentary election in 2020. Will it be the incumbent MP Adam Mutawakilu or the MPP's just elected parliamentary candidate Abu Jinapo, who is also a deputy chief of staff?
That's an interesting constituency to focus on. It will be really interesting.
We do know that.
Because he's been promising a lot of development projects in the constituency. Yeah. And we know that Mutawakilu has also been there for a while now, and he's also very much strong on the ground. Yes. Yeah. We'll see how this plays out.
Looks like you've been following a lot of elections.
So suddenly Damongo is one of the key constituencies to look at in 2020. Very interesting. You're through? You're done?
No, I have comprehensive sexual education, CSE, GES speaks out. Indeed, we're going to have a press conference 11 a.m. this morning. So, Railways Ministry to employ, they say, environmentally friendly technology in their rollout. Okay. Now let's go to the Custodian newspaper. The Custodian has on the front page a couple of interesting stories. As defunct Capital Bank founder exposed after speaking tongues for sympathy. That's the main story on the front page of the Custodian. Up there we have, you've told malicious lies. Ken and Kelly scold Atuasian. Then we have Ghanaians appreciate our progress at AKUFO-ADDO. Matenamidu jabs AG. Those stories will take us to the last one. The Economy Times. Ghana's reserves to hit $9.2 billion of import cover. That's a great one. That's a great one. We've never hit this height in a long time. Fiscal Council member proposes solution to staggering budget overruns. Deficit is always high. We don't know why. As we had was around after 2012, we had the highest. Banks assets up, recording 115.2 billion Ghana cedis. And those are the stories we have. And back page, NPRA, that's the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Others alarmed with 84% of workers not on any pension scheme at all. I want to talk about the informal sector. Other stories are also on the back page. Mamavi, you ready?
Yes, let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the graphic says controversy. Ghanaians divided over new sexuality education. Well, the controversy is even apparently coming from people who should have more knowledge, who should know where we're headed, who should know where this came from. They are even more divided than the people, right? So GS says a different thing. The Ministry of Education says a different thing. But today we're hosting the executive director of the Population Council, the National Population Council. You know, when we did a background check, they're supposed to be the custodian of this document, which is out there, which other people are denying, trying to clarify. So what do they say? Where do we stand? Hopefully we can get something concrete from the National Population Council. That conversation is later on this morning here on the AM show. Let's go back to the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Election of MMDCEs will stop. Winner takes all. That's from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Hajia Alima Mahama. 6 more soldiers appear in court over plot to destabilize country. And this one, in the midst of all the comprehensive sexuality education, effective today, if you probably have not heard, well, then I'm telling you, that electricity and water will go up by almost 6 and 2%. Is on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, in a statement, blamed the adjustment on the exchange rates, inflation, among others. So that's it. Center spread, resolve chieftaincy dispute. President tells Osu Doku chiefs. And law students to protest against mass failure. Ms. Regina Mega, the convener for the National Association of Law Students, she was on the show yesterday to tell us about why they are hitting the streets on Monday. The interesting thing is she sat and wrote and passed for the exam that only 128 years. So the 2 people who were in the studio yesterday with us, one of them, in fact, the lead advocates for the reforms in terms of the very recent action. Regina actually sat and passed the exam. But, you know, that tells you it's not just about those who passed or it's not just about those who failed. But, you know, they're doing this together because beyond the entrance exam, there are other things that they're also calling for. Ghana, Nepal established diplomatic ties is also another story in the center spread. But on the back page, AMA to plant 100,000 trees. Indian High Commission supports 37 military hospital. 2 stories on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Let's do the Finder, and we'll finish with the Daily Statesman. So the Finder front page, vote yes on December 17 to pave way for election of MMDCEs, according to the local government minister. I attended a forum where somebody said it looks like all the CSOs are supporting a yes vote. Nobody's talking about the effect of a no vote, you know, the positives of a no vote. And somebody said to him, yes, but you're also from, you also have the mouth to say it. So if you disagree, we're not saying go along with us, but if you also disagree, let your voice be heard on that disagreement. But it looks like a lot of people are in favor of a yes vote. That's
you remember when we were having the referendum to constitutional...
For the new regions?
No, for the constitutional...
Okay.
To, you know, when we decided to go into the current republic, there was a referendum.
Yes.
And it was massively
Well, a lot of people, many years down the line, were told that they actually didn't even know what they were voting for.
Yeah, true. And it's the same. And it's the same.
And there were some of the provisions that they had not seen prior to the votes.
Yeah, and because there was less scrutiny, and I'm not sure that we had information being passed around like these days. But if it was the day of social media as we have it currently, and we had, let's say, an army junta or regime in place, and we're doing the conversion into a democratic rule, I'm sure the scrutiny would have looked at the sections of the Constitution very well. Really?
So we had a piece of documents which is comprehensive sexuality education in it. And did we scrutinize it or not? Are we now realizing that there were some portions we could have taken off, we could have taken out?
I'm not sure.
When we happily launched it.
Yeah.
See? So listen. You can talk about that referendum and how people voted yes and didn't actually even know what that meant in detail. But this yes vote, I understand. And we want them elected because of the kind of pressure that we tend to put on the MPs. Especially. And we feel that because we voted for you, you are accountable. But if we haven't, and they are more powerful, really more powerful than the MPs. So we want them elected, and it will be interesting in this kind of democracy where we say winner takes all. It will be good if one party is in government, but the people on the ground in terms of the MMDCEs, you have an opposition person. But because we voted for you and we give you the resources to do the work, we expect that you do the work. And hopefully, when one arm is not functioning properly or is not being responsive, we will get the other arm to come out. So there will be proper checks and balances, if you like.
Yeah, and that even brings to, I know that Obi Amwa has been here countless times to try and educate us on this. And this question that related to the issue you just raised about if your government is not in power and you're the head of, because you campaign and you got elected as an MC, etc. How would you? And then his response has always been, that's why you need the ingenuity of the individual to make sure that not only what you said in the manifesto, but also how you perform in office, able to raise revenue, etc. But there's always a caveat. Our economy locally has not developed to the point where you say that I can raise enough revenue at a certain section of our country in which we know that the economy is not as vibrant. You know.
So you know, we always talk about raising revenue, but I think after a little education, I'm thinking, have we looked at how productive we are? Like how productive have we created the environment so that we will be more productive? Because if we are productive, then paying tax, for instance, would be a problem. But we're looking at raising taxes and paying, but we're not looking, because it has to go together. Otherwise, there will always be a gap, and we will keep falling.
Yeah, true.
You know, we have
because
to look
in the milieu of all that,
how successful we are, or
how the local economy performs, we shouldn't forget, also hinges on the national framework and how
it goes hand in hand.
Yes, true.
If I feel that things are hard, and you come to me, I mean, even if I know I have to pay, I will swerve, and I will be dodging. That's how.
And we're also told that they're only not supposed to rely on internal revenue. There needs to be some financial re-engineering as well, how to be able to raise funding for certain issues as well.
Let's look at myjoyonline.com, unless there's another story that you want to highlight on.
Oh, it's just that.
So we have another statesman.
Yeah. Okay. Because I just wanted to read something from the president on the related.
So get that ready. Let me do the Daily Statesman, the last newspaper. We'll rebuild. Is it Ehi Gari Factory? Jamesi says. This is on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper.
Okay.
Mahama
so
Brothers
Mama is pronounced Ahi.
Ahi?
Very good.
Oh, okay. Ehi Gari Factory. So where is Ehi Gari Factory?
It's in Anglo area. I think on Anglo.
Ahi?
Ahi. It's supposed to have been spelled.
It's in the Cape North municipality of the Volta region. So you're right.
It's supposed to be spelled EXI
in
normal.
So this one is Ehi.
Ehi.
But this is not Ehi. Ehi.
It depends on how you put the accent.
How do you pronounce H in other? Huh. Ehi. Okay, let's do
that's a wrong spelling.
Let's do, yeah. So we come with the
in English. You can pronounce.
So
you can write it like this, but in typical way, it has to be EXI.
All right, scholarships boom under AKUFO-ADDO. 30,000 tertiary students win bursary awards. I'm looking for a scholarship myself. How do you tap into it? Say you have to be connected. I'll read the story to see. Maybe not. Let's do myjoyonline.com before we link up with sports. So here we go with what's on our page today. Roland, but you said you were sharing something.
Yeah, and because underlying all this brouhaha or the reactions on the CSE is a subject of the composition of the conversation, that it's going to ultimately lead to legalization of homosexuality. All the gaining of some grounds by the LGBT community. And we know that the president some time back had an interaction with Al Jazeera. And I want to quote him. He says, I don't believe that in Ghana so far a sufficiently strong coalition has emerged which is having that impact on public opinion that will change it. Let's then have a new paradigm in Ghana ultimately. And you know, you and I were having this discussion. Was it on Sunday?
Yes.
We're having this discussion. We did recount this.
But this is not the voice for. This is the voice against. What is happening now is the voice
yes,
against.
because the criticism is that those who are criticizing all this policy direction or the intended policy direction is that they don't want the ground to be created to fester in a conversation for legalization of the LGBT rights and the community. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's do myjoyonline.com. So here we go with what's on our news portal today. AKUFO-ADDO celebrates with he. Or which one is the she?
She.
Okay.
She.
What's the first name?
Xi Jinping.
Oh, she. Okay. On China's 70th anniversary.
But his first name in Chinese is Jinping.
Okay.
So the surname is Xi.
She. All right. That's the, you know, us celebrating with China on their 70th anniversary. Details of that on myjoyonline.com. Moving on, coup d'etat not possible in Ghana, according to Efa Date, who is an ex-soldier, a former minister, and a former member of parliament, who happens to be lawyer for one of the accused in this case.
In the latest roundup.
He was speaking on PM Express last night. Let's move on. Oforiatta Gajapo deny allegation of planned acquisition of Capital Bank, and this came up during that interaction with Paul Admotre. That's the Atuesi and the boss of the defunct Capital Bank. Yeah, you know, mentioning that they had made a move to acquire his bank a year before the collapse. Yeah, no, or 2 years before. All right, let's move on.
A year before.
Okay. UDS alumni renovates selected facilities of campuses as part of its 25th anniversary. 18-year-old to spend 15 years in prison for robbery.
What did he steal?
1,000, Fred, can you just put it back there? 1,200 Ghana cedis. He robbed a man of his 1,200 Ghana cedis. He's spending his life at the Nsawam prison. So the next 15 years in Nsawam for robbing a man.
The state is going to look after him.
1,200 Ghana cedis. Alternative punishment. Reforms. GSC not a foreign agenda. Okay, this looks like a piece on myjoyonline.com. Spain court dismisses fraud against Messi. Cardiff must pay Nantes 5.3 million
for Salah. You know he's dead. He's passed. The gentleman who had signed a contract with Cardiff and then had the plane crash.
So they're going to pay the transfer fee irrespective.
The transfer fee at the time I think was around 15 million.
Benedict is here. Benedict, good morning.
It was around 15 million, wasn't it?
What's the deal with this?
So it was around 21 million.
Oh, 21 million.
When they signed him from Nantes to Cardiff. And just the day he was traveling to go complete the deal, that was when that unfortunate, accident happened. And, after, there's been this back and forth. What Nantes are saying is that we agreed terms with Cardiff for the player. And so they should give them the 21. And then Cardiff also took the matter to court, saying that, well, we signed the player, we didn't get any service. You understand? So the money, we are not finished paying the money. So if that's the case, we are not going to pay at all. And now there's been a ruling that they should pay Nantes 5.5 million.
Okay, so
that's a reduction, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you look at the pros and cons, we signed the player, we couldn't use him, he's passed. We also shipped the player, signed the deal. So at least you have to pay something.
I think if you're going by the strict terms of a contract and a deal having been made, then yes,
you have to pay everything.
You have to pay, exactly.
When you did not get any service.
Yeah, so this is an equitable intervention, if you like, if you ask me, really.
Okay.
Because a deal is a deal, contract is contract, sign, done.
And the 21 you mean is in euros, because as reported at the time it was 15 million pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is significantly lower than what they would have paid. But Bennett, the World Athletics Championship, like where is Ghana? Yesterday we talked about Jamaica.
Did we participate at all?
Yes, we have 10 athletes.
I doubt it.
No, we have 10 athletes there. We actually participated on the first day in the 100 meters. That's Joseph Amwa, who came 6th in his, we don't say last. So he came 6th in his view of that 100 meters with 10.36 seconds. On
that
Friday,
doesn't qualify you.
Yes, he couldn't qualify, so he couldn't make it to the semi-finals. And on Friday, that's this very Friday, we'll have the 4x100, both the men and women relay team. They will participate in that event. So you definitely will hear of Ghana. Nadia Eke qualified, one other guy qualified, but due to injuries, they couldn't, travel to Doha to participate. But Ghana is there. It's just that we haven't seen much of Team Ghana.
Benedict will also talk about the woes of Manchester United.
Exactly.
They say this is the worst start ever.
In 30 years.
In 30 years in the Premier League.
And it's all going to And there's this interesting thing we'll talk about this morning. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, their coach, Mano Zakayasen. You buy players, you train for a competition, you start, you are kicked out, and then you come and say that the competition is not the level of the club. Can you imagine? Oh,
you have to find something to encourage yourself.
This morning I was listening to Oligana Solskjaer, and he was saying that it's a learning process or something.
Charlie, he's been learning for too long.
Yeah, I think he's a learning coach, right?
But you came on when Jose Mourinho wasn't doing well. He started winning some games back to back. I think he won 13 games on a roll, and then the defeat started coming through.
No, I think I know what the problem is. We were too quick to confirm him.
Yeah,
take it away, Benedict. He's got details of sports.